Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're tackling Moment of Insight, the third core battle in the Phototaxis and Study event. If you've been following along with my previous guides, you'll already be familiar with the core strategy we've been using throughout this event: stacking the blue thought process, generating Moxie quickly, and swapping in reserve characters with strong mass attack ultimates to clear enemies efficiently. This battle follows the same structure as our previous fights, but it does have a few key differences. Our main enemies this time are the Manus units, and the boss for this stage is the Winged Cat. While the strategy remains consistent, the Manus enemies tend to be a little bulkier, with higher stats and larger memory shell shields, making them more resistant than the Razor Squad we faced in the last battle. That said, the approach is still simple. Stack Moxie, rotate in our reserve characters for their ultimates, and overwhelm the enemy with sheer force. Once again, Anjo Nala proves to be the ultimate unit for this event. Whether you've summoned and built her yourself, or you're borrowing a maxed out version from a friend, she's an absolute game changer here. Her ability to apply crowd control and mass attack damage lets us drop the need for a healer entirely, allowing us to focus fully on offense. If you're struggling with this event, consider making use of the friend assist system. Even if you already have a strong Anjo Nala, borrowing a maxed out version from a friend not only makes the fight easier for you, but also helps them earn extra materials for their own characters. It's a win-win situation, and I highly recommend taking advantage of it. For my team setup, I stuck with the same approach as in the previous core battles, stacking mass attack ultimates and using characters with strong debuffs and control effects. Lucy remains a fantastic pick thanks to her Reaper effect, which deals cascading damage whenever an enemy dies. This pairs extremely well with Anjo Nala, making it easy to keep control over the Manus enemies while quickly chipping away at the Winged Cat. Mercurial is also a strong choice here, providing valuable passive buffs to damage and crit rate. With enemies being slightly tankier in this battle, those extra buffs really help speed things up. And of course, if you have characters like Druvis or Regulus, their crowd control effects can further ensure that enemies stay locked down, preventing them from retaliating. As you'll see in my video, the fight plays out similarly to the previous core battles. The key is to maintain a steady rhythm of swapping in your reserve characters to trigger ultimates. Every time you do this, you're not only dealing massive damage, but also applying additional debuffs and control effects that keep the enemies from taking action. One thing to watch out for in this battle is the Winged Cat's ability to sustain itself through shields. It doesn't hit particularly hard, but if you're not consistently applying pressure, it can drag out the fight longer than necessary. This is why mass attack ultimates work so well. You're not only clearing out the weaker enemies quickly, but also constantly whittling down the boss's defenses. If you're finding this battle tougher than the previous ones, take a look at your Psycubes. Sometimes, simply swapping out your Psycube setup for better offensive stats can make a huge difference. Since we're relying heavily on burst damage and control, prioritize Psycubes that boost attack, crit damage, or debuff effectiveness. Another important tip: if you're still bringing a healer, consider swapping them out for another damage dealer or control unit. The way this event is structured gives us plenty of tools to prevent damage from happening in the first place, making healers largely unnecessary. The more damage you can deal in a short window, the better your results will be. At this point, we've now played through 5 of the 6 battles in Phototaxis and Study, and it's safe to say that the core gameplay loop has been pretty consistent. While I enjoy the event, I do think it's worth mentioning that it lacks significant variation in strategy. If you've been following my guides from the start, this should all feel very familiar to you by now. That said, I will be covering the final 3 battles when they unlock later this week, even if they end up using the same strategy. My goal is to provide full coverage of this event, so whether you're a new player trying to clear this content efficiently, or an experienced player looking for small optimizations, I hope these guides continue to be useful. How are you finding this event so far? Are these strategies working for you? Have you been borrowing friend assist characters to make things easier? Drop a comment and let me know how your runs are going. I'm also curious to hear your thoughts on some of the changes I've made to this channel recently. You might have noticed the new voiceovers in these videos, which I've been adding to make the content more engaging. Do you prefer this style compared to my older, silent gameplay guides? And what about the new channel logo? It's a big change from the Verton portrait we used before, and I'm working on updating more channel art to match Reverse 1999's aesthetic. Let me know what you think. If you're enjoying these guides and finding them helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could support the channel with a like, comment, or subscription. Engagement helps me understand what kind of content you all find valuable, and it lets me know if I should keep making guides like this for future events. That's it for today. Good luck clearing, and make sure to prepare for the final set of battles dropping later this week.
His trumpets sound. The judgment day has come.
Flee, mortals! I'll fill the cup for you. Perfectly understand my dark embrace. Look.
I weave the gown with thorns. You shall repay with sacrifice of wounds.
Soffocare il sangue! Soffocare il sangue! Are you ready to shake? Woohoo! Release! Please, allow me.
His trumpets sound. The judgment day has come.
Loading. Faraday's miracle.
Stay back, I say.
Charging. Aim and shoot.